here this morning. Thank you for blessing us through another week.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Lord, for giving us traveling mercy, Lord, and keeping us encouraged
Yes,
day
Lord.
after time, Lord. Just thankful to be your child, Lord, and for your kingdom, God. Lord, we need you to be with us this morning, Lord. We ask that you bless the ones that are traveling, Lord. Give them traveling mercy. The ones that desire to be here, Lord, but not able to be here. We ask that you bless them right where they are, God. And them that are afflicted, Lord, are discouraged, are blessed in the way that they stand in need, God. And we ask you, Lord, to bless the Sunday school lesson this morning, God. And bless the Sunday school teacher, Lord. Help us to get out of what you would have us to get out of the lesson, God. And we ask you, Lord, to bless our morning service, Lord, and the one that you have given the word, that you will make it easy for them to present the word to us, Lord, and help us to receive it gladly, dear God. And so be with us, Lord, in a special way. We ask all these things. Amen.
Amen.
Good morning. Thank the Lord. We on page 39. Title our lesson, As Much as Lieth in You, Live Peaceably with All Men. We can read one verse. Yeah.
Romans 12 and 18. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men.
Romans 14:19, let us therefore follow after the things which make for peace, and things wherewith one may edify another.
Only for the meat destroyed, not the work of God. All things indeed are pure, but it is evil for that man who eateth with offense.
21. It is good neither to eat flesh, nor to drink wine, nor anything whereby thy brother stumbleth, or is offended, or is made weak.
Psalms 34:12. What man is he that desireth life and loveth many days, that he may see good?
13, keep thy tongue from evil and thy lips from speaking guile.
14, depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. Ephesians 4.
4:1. I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called.
2, with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love.
3, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace.
Hebrews 12:14. Follow peace with all men, and holiness without which no man shall see the Lord.
15. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled.
James 3:16. What page? 40.
James 3:16, for where envy and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work.
17. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality, without hypocrisy.
Number 18, and the fruit of righteousness is sword and peace of them that make peace.
In reverse. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9.
What do we get out of them in reverse? To me, it's saying if you're not a peacemaker, you're not going to make it in.
Help us, Lord.
Yes, indeed. No matter if you're being mistreated or not, it's still got to be peacemakers. And it's going to take the Lord to help us grace, but He have grace for us. Yeah. Okay, someone can read the word word definitions.
Romans 14:19, follow after, to be thoughtful and purposeful in our pursuit. Unkind criticism or ridicule, or the strong pressure of our arguments and reasons may impede the divine life in weaker natures by leading them to act in defiance of their own conscience convictions. Romans 14:19, peace, from the primary verb ero, to join, harmony and concord, security, safety and prosperity, strong and fair.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to the lesson background. Someone can read a paragraph. Lesson background.
Paul was called by God to preach the gospel where idolatry was commonplace. He was not tempted with idolatry if he was offered meat that potentially had been offered as a sacrifice in idolatrous worship. He would not, however, eat the meat in the company of anyone who would be tempted to return to idolatry if he had partook, or if there was a chance they would think he was honoring the idol if he ate the meat. Paul was purposeful to not offend with his liberty.
Okay. Any thoughts on that by anyone?
Isn't Paul the one that said, if it offends my brother, I will eat no meat as long as the world standeth, something like that? And I was thinking about sometimes people can have their own kind of, well, I don't think you should be doing that kind of thing, and then they want to say, well, if that offends me, you shouldn't do it. But I think Paul had a different kind of thought about, he was really concerned about not being offensive to somebody else that would make them become offensive to God. And so he was really being concerned about his brother, about his sister. If it bothers you, if I'm eating meat because it was offered to an idol, then I should have enough care and concern for you that I wouldn't do that in front of you, because I don't want to be a stumbling block to anybody. And so if the things that I'm doing are having a bad effect on you, I might want to think about what I'm doing, even though I can be at liberty with it.
Right.
But we still have to be concerned that we're doing what we need to do for our fellow man.
Yeah, showing love for your brother and sister also, and concern for their soul. That's true. Yeah. We don't want to be a stumbling block, that's for sure. Okay. Someone can read the next paragraph.
Historically, those who did not follow peace and godliness soon fell into conflict with those who crossed them. Bitterness overtook them, and that bitterness often passed down to their descendants. Cain was the first to commit murder. After killing his brother, Cain lived in constant fear of retaliation. That fear and dread passed down to his family. Nimrod, a grandson of Ham, one of Noah's 3 sons, is another example. Ham's disdain for his father and the God of his father passed down the line to Nimrod. Nimrod was the driving force behind the Tower of Babel, and therefore directly responsible for the confusion of languages and the scattering of the people over the face of the earth.
Any thoughts?
I was thinking this is a true statement.
Yeah.
I have seen parents have an offense against somebody else in the church, and probably unknowingly, they spoke about that in front of their children, so their children got some kind of disdain for those people as well. We have to be very careful as parents, being, if I'm unhappy with so-and-so, I need to make sure that I don't let that be known to everybody around.
Yeah.
Because now they have to figure out how can I not have those same kind of feelings that my mom has, because they haven't done anything to me. And sometimes people will put those kind of things on you in the workplace. Well, so-and-so wasn't getting along with this person, and so they didn't want me to get along with them either. anybody else. Even if they had, God would still require me to do the right thing. But they were upset with me because I would help this person. They felt like they weren't doing their part in the work. And so I would help them. They were an older person and whatnot, and a little more feeble. And so I would do a little extra, and they were like, no, stop doing her job. I'm like, I can't help it. I feel like that's what God would have me to do.
It's like just because they have a problem with the person, they want you to have a problem with the person.
And it's really real in our world today.
Yeah,
Because I'm mad at so-and-so, I want you to be mad at them too.
right. Want them to join you.
I had the same thing going on at my grandson's school. My son was just telling me the other day when he was in elementary school, he had a friend. They were really tight. Now they're in junior high. His friend had another friend that doesn't like my grandson. And now that both of them were against him, so he's having a lot of problems. So that other child influenced him.
Yeah.
I don't like him, so why should you like him?
Right.
This about him, that about him. He influenced him to turn against the one he had been with friends all those years.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, we gotta watch how we treat people because our children, they are watching, that's for sure.
He's a teenager, not quite teenager.
Okay. Okay, let's go to the comments and applications. Someone might read a paragraph.
Robert Nisbet, a Quaker from North Adams, Massachusetts, woke up at midnight during the middle of the week in 1777. He felt a strong impression to leave immediately to visit the Quakers in Easton, near Saratoga Springs in New York. Dressing quickly, Robert began his 40-mile walk to Easton.
Can you imagine that 40 miles walking? He was over.
I don't like to drive 40 miles.
When Robert arrived the next morning, the Quakers of Easton had started gathering for their Thursday prayer meeting. As they were praying, someone in the group noticed a Native American warrior peering in at them through a window. The warrior looked confused, seeing people gathering quietly, unarmed and seemingly unalarmed at his presence. The warrior then beckoned to the rest of the warriors to join him at the window. They were all armed, covered in war paint, and obviously on the warpath.
Okay. Seemed like when Robert was impressed, he didn't question God, he just did what God wanted him to do. And that's the way we should be.
Robert was the only one at the meeting who knew how to communicate with the warriors. He went outside, told them that the presence was peaceful and did not participate in the conflict with the great Britain. He invited them to join them in prayer. The warriors agreed, laid down their weapons, and sat with them.
Okay.
So you're gonna need a little love and patience and understanding, and be able to draw others.
Yeah. If Robin, if he hadn't obeyed God, it would have, I mean, things could have turned out differently.
And so,
Okay, someone go ahead and read the last paragraph.
After the meeting was over, the Quakers shook hands with the warriors. Jebulon Folksy, the clerk of the meeting, went home and brought back food for everyone. The Quakers and warriors shared a meal in friendship. As the warriors left, they pinned a large white feather over the door of the meeting house as a sign to other Native Americans that these people were friends and could be trusted.
Okay.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the peace you grant us. Help me to share your peace with the world around me. Help me to follow after peace and pursue it. Yes.
Any thoughts before we move on?
I was thinking about where it talks about Robert was the only one at the meeting who knew how to communicate with the warriors.
Yes.
I think it goes further than that. When we are met with something that seems scary or something that seems like it's going to be very troublesome, there are some people who are going to freak out and think, oh no, what are we going to do? We got to do something, we got to react. I imagine being in a room, if we see someone peeking in with weapons, you know, I'm probably even going to think, oh, I better get something to, you know, try to defend, right? But Robert had that mind of, well, you know, let's calm. He could have been there to calm the other Quakers and be like, hey, calm down. haven't barged in here, you know, let's try and handle this peaceably, which is what the whole lesson's about.
Yeah.
A lot of people won't handle things peaceably. They not necessarily will cause conflict, but they'll get scared and think, oh, I gotta run away, or I gotta this, I gotta that, you know what I mean? And it doesn't help the situation.
It affects other people also.
Right, so this is something that I've told Naya. When we're out, and I'm not saying not to do this, I'm just saying be careful of doing it. When we're out and we're at a gas station, and you see a man or someone homeless and they're walking past you, don't immediately just lock your door. Because they hear that.
Yeah.
And it agitates them and irritates them, because a lot of times they're not thinking anything about you. They're got their own set of problems.
Yeah.
And I've seen people get set off because you lock their door and do you think I would, like, you know what I mean? And so that's the kind of peaceably that we're talking about. Obviously, I say stay aware, you know, be alert, but we try to do things that would be considerate of the other person, rather than reacting in our own fears, causing a bigger situation.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the reflection. Someone can read the paragraph.
Many years ago, the Lord taught me a valuable lesson about Proverbs 15:1. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. I have become very discouraged because my attempts at living peaceably with a certain individual were not successful. I tried being quiet and not responding in kind, but it wasn't working. I decided that I might as well say whatever I wanted to say. As you might have already guessed, things got worse in a hurry, and I quickly sought the Lord for help. He corrected me with the verse above, emphasizing the soft answer. My quiet, non-responsive approach not only didn't help the other person, but it also left me in a state of stewing quietly inside myself. As I applied Proverbs 15:1, I found it brought more peace for me and for the other person as well. My mother, Sister Maxine Busby, also had a revelation concerning this verse. Someone came to her and said they didn't believe that this scripture was true because it didn't turn away the other person's wrath. Immediately she was inspired with this answer: then it is your wrath that is being turned away.
Okay, any thoughts?
Not always the other person that need to change. Sometimes it's us.
That's true.
We'll be within ourselves. We're looking at what the other person's doing, but we're not seeing where we made our mistake. It's not always on the other person.
I think we should look at ourselves first in the situation. You know, see if we're the problem.
We're the only one we can change.
That's
I
right.
can't, as much as I want to, I can't make nobody else change.
Yeah.
And it's hard enough to make me change. I'm trying to lose weight. And you know how hard it is to make Serena eat the right thing? Like, what I think I'm going to make you do, you know,
Right.
I have full control over me and what I put in my mouth. And it's hard. Why would I think it's easy? But I think we a lot of times think it's easier to make, I'm going to make Sister Dolores act right. No. You got to make Serena act not that you might act right. But we think it's easier to try to make the other person act right, because we don't want to do the work on ourselves. But it's hard enough to make you act right. It don't make no sense for you to try to make nobody else do nothing.
And there could be something going on with Sister Dolores that might instead of causing that person to act up. You know, if she changed that part in her, it might bring some peace.
Right.
I'm not picking on you now.
Sister Serena's point about it's us that needs to be making the change.
Yeah.
We need to be changing us. And I feel like a lot of times we want that other person to change so I don't have to. So I don't have to work on me. I can just be me and change you so I can keep being how I want to. But the problem with that is, at the end of the day, when judgment comes, it's going to fall short on
That's
me.
right. That's
She
right.
might be free as the air we breathe, but I might be the one caught up and the Lord saying, I don't know you.
Yeah, true. That one thing. So Lord help us to examine ourselves first and work on ourselves. Yeah. Okay.
All of us have people with whom we find it difficult to live peaceably. Brother Bob Wilson once said in a lesson that there are problems that that cannot be resolved because both parties aren't willing to right their wrongs. The good news is that the Lord has practical answers that really work. It may not work for the other person, but it can bring peace to your own heart.
Yeah.
And when you have that peace in your own heart, that it can change the situation, but that's the most important thing. Do you have
Yes.
peace with how you handle the situation? Do you have peace about what you said and what you did? Because again, all I can do is control me.
Yeah.
All I can do is control Serena. I can't control nobody else. So if I have the right attitude, then that's what's most important.
That's right. If the person never changes, it's still about you having the right attitude. It doesn't matter. You still have to love that person, and you're supposed to be peaceful no matter what.
But that's work.
Yeah, that's work.
You're having a difference with someone and trying to keep yourself clear. A lot of times we want to look at that other person, but we can't. We have to just look at ourselves and think, what can I do to change this? What can I do so that my peace isn't disturbed whenever they come around or when I have to deal with them or whatever? But a lot of times we don't want to take that route of looking inward and saying, what can I do? How are my answers soft or are they harsh?
And the thing is, I owed someone an apology the other day, and it's just like, she was like, oh, that? It's nothing, but it benefits our souls if we live peaceably, because
Yes.
I need to clear that up. I thought I need to clear it up with her, but actually I need to clear it up with me because it was troubling me.
Yeah. Well, if we're gonna make it to heaven, we have to live peacefully. It's not an option. So Lord, help us. And if we live peacefully, I think it's going to touch other lives too, if we're doing our part. Okay. I'm going to go to the questions now. There's quite a few of them. We can discuss them. Number one is asking us, how much control do we have in our abilities to live peacefully with others? How much control?
Not none, unless we get it from the Lord. Because self will be like, no, I don't want to lay down. I
Yeah.
want to be up. I want you to lay down. But with God's help, we can control ourselves.
We
But
got
we have to seek Him for that help.
Yeah, and we can't just look at the other person as the problem. We got to look within ourselves. We may be the problem. Why we're not having peace between that person.
You can't argue with fence posts. There has to be, you know what I mean? Like, if you see somebody arguing with a fence post, you know they have mental issues, right? So when it takes two people to argue. It
Right.
takes two. When you have a situation where there's not peace, then there's two people there who both want their way, who
Right.
who both want to impose their will on the situation. It should be green. No, it should be red. It should be green. No, it should, whatever it is, right? There's two, and many times it's not a right or wrong. Which is the better Christmas color, red or green? Like that's not a.
Just your view.
That's just an
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
What do you prefer? What do you like? Like, and I just literally just picked that because I'm looking at red and green right now. But most of the time when there's an issue where there's not peace, it's because both somebody usually think their way is better, and they want to impose their will on the situation, and they're not just willing to be like, oh, you like green? I like red. Okay, well, let's see how we can work this out. They don't want to do that.
Yeah.
They want to feel like I'm right. My idea is better than yours, and so you should submit to my idea. But as Christians, what are we called to do? Be humble,
Yeah.
be meek, to be easily imposed upon. To say, oh, you like red better than green? Okay, we'll do red.
Right.
I like green, but we'll do red because you're my brother, you're my sister, and I'm preferring you instead of, well, my idea is just as good as yours. Well, it is. They are. Both ideas are equally good. So now what you gonna do? You're gonna have to figure something out because
True.
red versus green, like there's nowhere in the Bible where it says one is right, there's no hierarchy or definitive answer for right and wrong. And so when you have that, then you guys just have to figure something out. And even if it is a definitive answer of right and wrong, if it's in the Bible says you have to humble.
That's right.
So all around, we're supposed to humble no matter what, even if we are right.
Whatever it takes to keep the peace. Okay. We go to number 2. What things do we have to follow after that would make for peace and edify others? What things do we have to follow after? Romans 14:19 says, "Let us therefore follow after the things which make for peace, and things wherewith one may edify the other." Yeah. Humility.
And a willingness to be peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people don't want to be peaceful, they want to argue.
Yeah.
Can I say something here about?
Yes, go ahead.
Because I have to live it every day, is what I'm going through. And, in order to keep the peace, I have to separate myself. You have to separate yourself. Because self will want to react to something that's negative. For me, I have to separate myself and think, okay, if God is in control, this person that's really trying to disturb my peace, if I don't separate myself, if I respond, it's going to be worse. So if I separate myself, because later on, a few hours later, they're going to turn that all the way around and put it on you and say, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? See how they put it back on me? It's not me. It's you. And I know this in my mind. It's you. So if I separate myself and keep the peace within myself and know that in the forefront of my mind, God is in control of all of this anyway. He's teaching me how to do this. So when I think, okay, God is in control of this, I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to respond to that. Because if I do, it's going to make it worse. Why do I want my peace disturbed? That person can see that peace in me, but they want misery love company. So they want to disturb my peace because their peace is not, they don't have that peace. They want to disturb your peace because they don't have the peace. So they want, hey, if I ain't got it, I don't want you to have it. I'm just saying, hey, it works for me to separate, to shut up. Lord help me not to let my peace be disturbed like this person. But later on, I can see it. Later on, it's going to come back, and it's going to. And it happened to me just the other day. It turned right around. What is wrong with you? Knowing it wasn't me. They knew that too. It wasn't me. It was them, but they didn't want to accept it. They didn't want to accept that. So I'm asking the Lord to help me to continue to if I have to separate myself, go in the room, be quiet. They want to know why you being so quiet. What do you want me to do? Respond in a negative way? Start an argument? A soft answer, turn away wrath. Just be quiet. That's the only way I can see it. Because self really don't want to respond. Why you say what's wrong with me? Why you say, it's not me? And then that's going to cause a big overflow.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to be quiet, but got to make sure that there's nothing working up in there, though.
Yes, that's true.
That's the main thing right there. So Lord help us. Okay. Number 3, how can partaking of certain things destroy the work of God? How can partaking of certain things destroy the work of God?
Well, one, it can destroy your witness.
Yeah. That's so true there. That is true there. Yeah.
And also, we're in a spiritual battle, and so the things we do are not neutral per se. They're either for the Lord or for Satan. And so when we do things, when we partake of things that are not for God, there's something going on in the spiritual realm where we're losing spiritual ground. And the Lord is merciful; He can bless us in all of those things
Help us
if
to
we
see
have a
it.
failure and help us to see it. But it's not just neutral. There is something going on in the spirit realm.
Okay. Anything else on that one before we move on?
I think about when I was younger in my salvation, I would go to baby showers and they weren't married. You know, person married, they had a child out of wedlock or going to a wedding that's a second double marriage. That can cause some damage too.
Yeah. True. That's true. We have to be careful what we partake in, that's for sure. People are looking on also.
And it's more than just what we partake in. Sometimes it comes right down to the very words that we say.
Yeah.
I was caught in a place once where they were having some kind of discussion, and I chimed in with some silly answer, and they all went, "From Miss Taylor?" And I thought, oh.
What did I say?
And I thought, okay, you just need to stay out of some stuff, because they all kind of looked at me like, you didn't think you would say that.
Sometimes we say things just trying to fit in, conversation going around, and that can be a mistake sometimes, kind of forcing yourself in. You end up saying the wrong thing. Might have seemed like it made sense to you in your mind, but once it come out,
Once it came out, I was like, ugh.
it's another thing. Okay, number 4. Why can't our partaking of things we regard as pure, yet offensive to someone else, be evil?
Because we're supposed to die to ourselves, and it's not just all about you. I think there is a balance. There is a balance for what you should do that doesn't violate your conscience versus something that might violate other people's conscience. But the thing is, when you don't do something that you feel you have liberty to do for the sake of other people's, that's denying yourself. That's denying what you want. And that has a blessing attached to it, because that's what the Lord tells us to do. He tells us to deny ourselves. And so I think that's...
So if it's going to offend your brother, it's best to deny yourself.
Because if you just do it anyway, then that's just you being selfish.
Exactly.
Like, well, I'm okay with this.
The Bible don't say anything about me not being able to do it, so you can do it anyway. Huh?
Is it kind of like being a goody two-shoes, like throwing my salvation in your face, like, I got it like that, but, okay. And if it's offensive to someone,
Yeah.
it's not making the way attractive.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. Okay, we'll go to number 5. Let someone have someone else. Something else on that.
Anthony, I was thinking about us and our being careful about what we do concerning our brother. I was thinking that if I'm so about me and I'm not concerned about my brother, what I'm doing that's offensive to them, if it causes them to do the wrong thing, do I think I'm going to escape some judgment about that? Because I helped them essentially make a bad choice because I wasn't willing to deny myself. And what kind of consequences come when you think, ooh, if I would have not did that in front of them, maybe they would have stayed on the right course.
Right.
But here they've turned aside. How would you feel? I would feel horrible to think that it was because of me someone turned away. And the Lord is going to deal with me about that.
That's true.
I'm going to have to give an account for that.
Yes, Lord help us. Okay. Number 5. how effective would Paul have been if he had not refused to eat or drink anything that would offend? How effective would he have been?
He wouldn't have been.
Mm,
Then he'd have been just like them.
yeah, zero effective. That's true.
When we look at our parents, many times they told you, you shouldn't drink, you shouldn't smoke.
Hmm.
But you would see them drinking and smoking it, and it just doesn't hold weight.
That's so
And so
true.
when we tell somebody, oh, don't do da-da-da-da-da, but we going out and we're doing the same thing, they're gonna be like, well, why are they telling me I can't, but they can?
Yeah, that's true. Don't carry any weight at all. Yes. She said it caused confusion. What you do. Yeah, it does cause confusion. Yeah. If we drink and do all the things Sister Denise say, and we tell our children not to do it, that is confusing.
And it's that way in the church. You can see, well, some of the saints do this, but some of the saints do this, and then people
Yeah.
coming in that don't have a good understanding, they're like, well, if this one's doing that and this one's doing that, well, what's the thing?
And the
That's
devil
why
gonna
we
point.
need to talk about them all having the same mind, the same spirit,
Yeah.
the same, rather than, some are doing this and some are doing that.
And the devil going to point those things out to that newly saved person for sure. And even if it's not sin to you, maybe it'd be better not to do it if it's going to offend your brother. Number 6, how can our tongue offend and hinder peace? Well, one thing, your tongue, if you gossip, it can sure hinder some peace, that's for sure.
Well, and then also we know sometimes, if I say this is gonna really get underneath their skin.
It hurt
And then
words.
don't say it.
Yeah.
But sometimes in our mind, I wanna get them. And if I say this, I know they're gonna react this way.
Yes.
It's hard to write on your tongue. It's very hard to write on your tongue. You learn the hard way. You
Yeah.
learn the hard way. And as time goes on, because I didn't always know how to keep the peace.
Mhm.
But I'm learning how to keep the peace.
Yeah.
I've learned by writing my tongue
Mhm.
and not responding to it.
Yeah, if you say hurt words, then you got to go back and you got to ask for forgiveness if you hurt them. God might require that of you.
That's a tough one, so it's like, I need to work with this. That's tough, it's like, brain.
Yeah. Lord help us. Yeah. And gossip can be a bad one, though. Spreading something you was told to keep to yourself. It can disturb some peace. Number 7, why is humility and long-suffering necessary to keep peace? Yeah, that's for sure. Gotta be humble.
And we have to
Yeah.
be long suffering.
Yes. Even if you're being done wrong, you still got to love that person.
And Sister Ray points out when they despitefully use it, like they did it on purpose.
Right. Yep. And we don't know how long the Lord will let you suffer those things. But gotta keep loving them, keep peace. Number 8, how intentional do we have to be to follow peace? How intentional do we have to be to follow peace?
You have to have it in the forefront of your mind whenever you're going into a situation. In talking about long suffering doesn't mean that, or doesn't only mean that someone's doing you per se wrong in a great way.
No.
There is, Naya's long suffering with me, I like to, when I take my clothes off, I put them on the ground wherever I'm at, go do whatever, and then I will move them later.
Okay.
That's how I operate, Naya. I don't move them all the time. This is the point of being long-suffering. So she wants peace in her home, right? Well, she's not going to come at me crazy every time that happens.
Right.
She's going to pick them up, maybe, or say, babe, can you pick up your clothes, please? You know, she's going to do something like that. Like, she has a problem with when she changes the diaper, she doesn't immediately grab it and throw it away. Sometimes it just sits there on the place for a minute or whatever. But I typically be like, babe, you need to get that diaper and throw it away. Like, don't leave it there. And so these little areas, this is when you have a moment, because it's annoying, you know? Certain things annoy us. Someone leaves their toothbrush in a place where you don't keep the toothbrushes, or, you know, maybe hair in the shower, whatever it is. This is long suffering, because those little habits don't change overnight.
Yeah.
Those little habits change over years of asking. But if you keep asking with a bad attitude or asking mean or anything, you're getting worked up in yourself. It's something that's getting worked up in them, and it's not being long-suffering and following after peace. Following after peace is, ooh, they done did this thing that they know makes me mad. But why does it make me so mad? Help me, Lord, not to be mad. This is a small thing. I want to be happy here. And then you go and approach them. The part where it said the soft answer turns away wrath, like it didn't work for the other person. I never thought about it as scripture saying it turns away your wrath. The soft answer in you turns away you being mad.
Yeah.
And that's actually how it's worked for me. I've had moments where baby, I wish you would. And suddenly I'm turned down. You know, it wasn't her that got turned down, I got turned down. And so when we're following after peace, we have to keep it in our mindset, or our mind, the whole time that I want peace. Now let me go into this situation. Because it'll change the whole way you view whatever the issue is.
So, what are you doing about those clothes now?
I pick them up more now. I made a joke yesterday. I said, baby, I'm sorry. I know these clothes, it's been 2 minutes. I'm sorry, I'll get them right now.
Lord help us. We want to keep peace. Do what we can. Okay, number 9. Why is following peace with all men coupled with holiness in our home in heaven? Coupled with holiness.
Because don't nobody want to be around people who always at each other's throats.
No.
It's uncomfortable to watch a fight. It's uncomfortable to see two people going back and forth with each other over something. And we're supposed to have the Prince of Peace in our, Jesus is called the Prince of Peace. He's supposed to be ruling and reigning in your heart. So if you're supposed to have the Prince of Peace, that's supposed to come out of you.
Right.
And that is supposed to show that you're willing to get along with people and to do the right thing and to pick up your clothes or to put away the toothbrush or whatever it is, because don't nobody want to be in an environment where everybody's always at each other's throats. That's not an enjoyable place to be. That's not an enjoyable thing. It's not enjoyable for the people who are in it, and it's not enjoyable for the people who have to watch it or have to be around it. Whenever people start arguing, what happens? Obviously, you have some people who are like, ooh, what's going on? But then a lot of people
Want to get away.
get out of there, get up out of there, because I don't want to be around this, right? And so when we get to heaven, when we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be, right? So we're all supposed to be, we're all going to have to get along. We're all going to have to live together. What happens when people live together? I've had a lot of people live with me over the years. At one point, basically everybody in the congregation has lived with us, right? So I know when you have a lot of people living together, there's a lot of stuff that can go on, right? There's a lot of stuff that can go on, little things that can irritate you, or the way they did it in their house, or the way you do it in your house, whatever. But heaven is going to be all of our homes, so we all have to figure out a way. We all going to be roommates in heaven, so we're all going to have to figure out a way to work together and to be peaceable.
So it's going to start right here.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
Yep. That's right. That's right. That's for sure. So Lord help us. Okay. Number 10, how do we get the grace to sow peace? How do we get the grace?
On our knees.
On the knees.
I also think we have to stay consistent
Yeah.
way the next day. We have to try to stay consistent with what we're trying to change in ourselves.
Yeah.
And when we do that, we can get better, and then that person will get better.
Right.
And people around us will start getting better. I know there was a time when I didn't want to go anywhere when I thought, I can't be around this person. I'm gonna get upset, I'm gonna do something,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something, and I'm gonna look at them wrong. So I've had to have help in trying to be more consistent
Right.
to, when I go, to just be more open to not do that and try to be more presentable to them.
Okay.
And it's helped.
Study working on Cheryl. Huh?
I've been working on it.
That's what we all gotta do for sure. Everything doesn't happen overnight, that's for sure. First you gotta see yourself, then you gotta start praying and ask God to help us, and we have to work on ourselves. But
I'm thinking about the word it used though. It said the grace to sow peace.
yeah,
Not just to have it for ourselves. When you sow, it typically talks about for other people.
right.
You know? And so in these areas, I think it's important for us also to, if we pursue peace in our own home, what do a lot of times when guys are having trouble, maybe with their wives, or when women are having trouble with their husbands, what do? We go ask them, this and that happened, what should I do? I had a coworker who was having problems with her husband, and I told Nai about it, and I told her, I was like, you need to be humble about it, even when he does this and that, you need to this, you need to that, you need to this, that, the things that I've learned, that I've had, you need this, you need that. Don't rise up, don't do any of that, just hold yourself on down, and go to him, talk to him softly, this and that, and then see what happens. I just saw her, since Thanksgiving, I just saw her yesterday, and the first thing I said to her, I was like, you fixed that marriage, bro, or what? What's going on? And she was like, yeah, we're good. Yeah, she was going to, not tell all her business, but she was going to go somewhere for Thanksgiving without him. She said she humbled down and asked him to go with her, and that started to heal everything back up,
That's
right?
good.
And so, in order for us to sow peace, we have to seek it first in our own home, right? We have to seek it with the people we are with daily. And then it is going to help us be able to tell people the other things that are the ways that it can work. If I want to be able to tell my different friends how to be good in their marriages, I first have to be good in mine.
It's true.
You know, I have to learn how to be peaceable in my own. I have to learn humility, long-suffering in my own house before I think I can go and sow it somewhere else, right? And so, like Sister Cheryl was saying, we have to be consistent. See, we can always relate it to weight training. If you never work out at the gym, you're never going to get stronger.
True.
And in fact, really, your body could be just getting weaker. So when we are consistent in the peace and seeking peace and learning peace, we are getting stronger and being able then to sow.
Yeah, make sure when we're giving advice that we are doing it the way we should be doing it. Because we don't want them to see us and we're not doing it right. We don't tell them to do it this way, you know. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Pursuing peace takes work. It's not
Yeah.
just, oh, it happens. And when Brother Nathan was talking, it reminded me of the first person to humble is really the more mature person. Because people who are emotionally immature only think about themselves and only think about what they want and the way they want it to go, and they're not taking a step back to see, okay, there must be another perspective on this, because that's what children do.
Yeah.
Children want their way, they want what they want when they want it, and they don't think about anybody else. They don't think about other people's feelings. They'll go and grab something, and what do? We teach children, now how would you feel if I grabbed that from you, or if she grabbed that from you? How would you feel? And they stop and they think, oh, yeah, if those situations were reversed, I wouldn't like that, right? So a person who is emotionally mature is going to pause and think about, what if this role was reversed? Instead of just focusing on themselves and, well, I got to do me, and this is what I need. If you are truly emotionally take a moment and think, okay, if this situation was reversed, this wouldn't be good.
Not
So
what I
let me
feel.
not just act like a child and do what I want when I want to, the way I want to, because that's what children do.
Yes.
But we're supposed to grow in grace and to be mature Christians. And in order to be mature Christians, you don't just do what you want when you want it every time you want it, because that's what a sign of immaturity is. I want it right now, and I don't care what the consequences are, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go after it. That's not Christ-like.
That's true.
The Lord wants us to stop, to consider, to deny ourselves, and then you move forward with the decision on how you're going to act. It's
Yeah.
not just, oh, I'm gonna do this.
Brothers do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Just stop and thinking, like the son, what would Jesus do in this situation? Okay, we're gonna stop here. Thank you for your participation. Sister Mary.
Stand before your reverence, please.
Amen. Where's your God?
Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled.
I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord.
Verse 16 and 17, I will offer to thee the sacrifice of thanksgiving, will call upon the name of the Lord.
More verses. Might stand and take our Sunday school offering. Someone might have a number.
First and last verse is 149. I claimed it found and guilty to Jesus my to save. He took my sins and sorrows and
Beautiful.
precious gain.
Thank you for your offering. So start about 15.